Naji bought me tickets like 2 weeks ago or something, and we actually went to see Dune. So the first movie part one, Dune part one. That's actually the official title. Part two is still not confirmed, but they made part one. Oops, sorry. And it was done by Frank Herbert's 1964 novel, the greatest sci-fi novel of all time, Dune. And basically, the first part deals with half of the book, something like half of the book here. That's the first part. So the second part should cover the rest. And so it doesn't have like an insane climax at the end, but as you know, Dune has been nearly impossible to make onto a big screen, right? Like no one managed to adapt it to the big screens like very well. The 1984 Dune was all right, and I love David Lynch's Dune. Honestly, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, even though it misses the mark on the book so many times. Like the Baron is all wrong. He's made into a caricature. Like the whole Fremen interaction is pretty shifted completely, and they truly believe that he's the Messiah, and he ends up being the Messiah, which is just misses the mark completely on the storyline. But to be fair, it is impossible to give justice to this work in 2 hour span. So ridiculous. Okay, so let me catch you later. So yeah, the new Dune. I feel like okay. So this is done by Denis Villeneuve, and music is done by Hans Zimmer. So those two combined, like if you guys have seen Arrival, how he does, how he makes scenes that shouldn't be tense at all, tense and nice and grandiose, and you want to watch it. You know, he has so many good shots in Arrival where you're just enjoying stuff even though nothing is happening. Like the movie is very slow, but it's still always intense, and the music is very well put in. So the same thing is with Dune, basically. The initial part is basically setting up the world. You're experiencing this new world, and a lot of it is just world and character development in the movie. So it doesn't have too much of climax, not too much of fighting, not too much action, but character development, and you're learning the world of Dune, which is a insanely complex world, insanely complex. So it's I don't even know how you can do it better, honestly, on a screen. But the thing is, like, if you never read Dune, if you never played Dune on PlayStation or PC, or if you never watched the old one, I think you might struggle a little bit to catch all the pieces, which might not even be bad, because you're scratching the surface in so many different topics that makes you think. But it would be better if you can like watch the second part very soon. But if you go right now and you never read it and you watch the first part, you'll be like, what the fuck? The fuck is happening in this world, in this universe? And then you get to the second part, like you would have to wait like for years, and maybe that wouldn't even ever get here, the second part. But yeah, overall I think the movie is very good, like visually outstanding, superb, music very well done, character development is very cool. Like you get to learn you get to see, like you get to experience the new world fully. But yeah, if you really want to experience it, go read the book. I feel like this movie is made for Dune fans, you know? It's not made to like appeal to the latest new Fortnite enjoyer. How faithful is to the book's order? Incredibly faithful. Incredibly faithful. So it's almost like when you read manga and then you watch anime, it's like shot for shot. Basically, like as I was watching it, I was mapping it in my head to what I remember from the book. And the scenes are almost in order. They're almost all in order, exactly how they happen. Obviously, you have to do like some things in the movie to make it different. And the book alone is very confusing at the start, because you learn about a lot of these new names like Bene Gesserit, the Kwisatz Haderach, and all this, and you have to learn. So in the movie, they have to be a bit more direct, so they like tell you about it a bit more, and they leave out some things, and it's incredibly difficult to do prescience, like how you predict something that's going to happen in your mind, like, or you unlock these visions and then show that in the movie later. So it's very difficult, but experience from Arrival, Dennis did a very good job, and yeah, like you get to learn quite a lot about Dune universe, honestly, like the complex politics. I think the movie did a great job explaining the complex politics. Like obviously it's only scratched the surface, but yeah, it's a very, very good job, I think. So yeah, shot for shot it goes. I like all the characters. All the actors are pretty damn good. It's a very stacked movie. What else? The one part is left out at the start where Jessica and Gaius Helen Mohayim, the Bene Gesserit. They say that the Duke Leto will die on Dune. They kind of left that part out. But the rest, most scenes are like very, very accurate. So that part has been left out for, well, for obvious reasons. You wanna leave some tension in the movie, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. I really, really enjoyed it. What would you change? Not much. I would just make a second one now. Like, I wouldn't mind sitting for like 5 hours and just experiencing this journey, because I really don't know, like, if someone who didn't read the book or had no experience about this would enjoy this. But for me, it was just putting an image to the thing that I already know. So it's just visualizing the things that I know. And it's very cool to just see it all come to life in a very, very faithful way. I really enjoyed it. It's so grandiose. So many like super cool shots where you see the harvesters, you see the worms, carryalls, you see the armies, the units, the Atreides, the Sardaukar, the Harkonnen, the Fremen. Like, it's all so amazing. Super, super amazing, like, shots. Very well done. So much good stuff. Chani and the Fremen aren't too much in it. I guess they're going to be more part of the second part. So yeah, as I said, I think like Dennis made this literally for, like, I feel like he's a Dune fan, and he just stick to the book as much as possible. And I feel like he just made this for fans. He didn't give a fuck what people who never experienced Dune is gonna say. Like, he just made this to be a piece to like Dune fans, which I fucking loved. I just enjoyed every minute of it. It was just a nice journey for me. I was just sitting there and like loving every minute. So yeah, it's very, very highly detailed, and it just goes slowly, which is good. I appreciate that, because you would miss huge and important character development, like at the death of his a little bit of spoilery, but it's kind of obvious. At the death of Duke Leto, the father, like, Paul has to take, like, Paul essentially becomes a man. He takes over, like, he becomes a duke, and he starts like growing up. Also, he inhales spice, and it's very good transition, and then eventually he becomes more and more and more powerful. The one thing is very, very interesting in this movie. You know, in the 1984, if you guys have seen, Fate Rautha, played by Sting, is actually like one of the throne competitors in the Harkonnen, along with the Beast Raban. And Beast Raban is here played by Dave Bautista, and he does a great job, even though he's not much in the movie. But Fate Rautha is not in here at all. If that's how it's pronounced. He's actually not in the movie at all. So I don't know if they're going to leave him like a reveal in the second movie, or they completely scrapped him. But I think he's a pivotal part at the end of the book. So I think they're going to bring him in. I think he has to be a really cool character. A lot of the characters I really wish you had more time with, because you don't really get to experience Peter de Vries that much in the movie. You don't get to check out Mentats, like another one, the Havat. You don't get to chill with Havat a lot, you know. You don't get to experience the Mentat life that much. But it's impossible to give everyone enough screen time. Duncan has a lot of screen time, which is good because he will be a recurring character. And yeah, honestly, like there's so much good stuff. So I don't know, if I think this is my verdict. If you're a Dune fan, you're gonna go into the movie and you're gonna love it, and you're just gonna enjoy it, and then get hyped up, go back, and then start reading again. If you're not a Dune fan, what I hope this will do is it's gonna scratch the surface for you. It's gonna scratch the surface for you, and then bring you to a point where you want to know more about the universe, and you want to buy the books. You want to buy the Dune books, and then get these bad boys and then start experiencing them one by one, you know? Like, they nailed some couple of shots, like with the still suits, and like when Liet Kynes tells how he's wearing the still suit, like Paul Atreides as if he's worn it before and all that. It's so amazing. Like, I really, really enjoy these like minor nods to the book, and they're very like core character moments, and the core moments in the like viewer to piece the story together. But they didn't really explain much, because Naji went with me, and Naji never read the books, so she wound up a little bit confused, because they scratched the surface on like so many different things, like the houses. They didn't even mention the Chom. They mentioned the Spacing Guild a little bit, but not too much. They mentioned the spies, the Fremen, the Harkonnen, all the houses, the feud, the bull, and the grandfather, And like, there's so many things, man. There's so many things, like the Bene Gesserit school, the politics, the Kwisatz Haderach, the voice, the Weirding way. Like, everything is in it, but to a very, very like minor degree, which is how it has to be. And if you want to produce a really faithful Dune series, it has to be like this. I can't imagine it any other way, because if you want to do this, you would have to make this like a 10-12 series, like a Game of Thrones show with really high budget. That's basically the only way to do it. But if you want to do it in movie form, first movie is going to have to take a bit of a slower route, so you scratch the surface on many of these things, and then slowly so you can expand throughout the next parts. Because you can't move on to the second part or third part if you didn't really at least touch on every single bit of the information. And I think that's how it has to be. So I'm really excited on how they're gonna continue. And they couldn't have chosen a better director for this. To make a movie that's slow, that's requires a bit of a higher attention span, that you think about different things. Like, I think they couldn't have gone with a better director, because, yeah. Honestly. Like, he knows how to make, like, stationary, sedentary scenes exciting, and then, like, you just, like, I think the movie's a great visual experience, and, like, you're just listening to this music, watching the beautiful visuals, but then you're slowly also absorbing the storyline. Like, the storyline is seeping under your skin slowly, and eventually it's gonna show its universe to you. That is the hope, but we need second part for that, and I really hope they get enough funding, and the Fortnite marketing worked, so we can actually get funding to get the Dune 2, Dune Part 2, man. I was so happy. I was like a little child. I was a little bit fanboying at the start. I was sitting there, and I was just, oh man, okay, now it's gonna be that scene, now it's gonna be that scene. And before they say shit, I say shit. They left out the mentions of jihad, which is kind of obvious, because Western culture doesn't really connect with the word jihad, which was the original word used in the book. So you have the Butlerian jihad and the holy war, the jihad later, when he spreads through the cosmos and the galaxy. So they left that one out. They left certain parts out. But other than that, like, they kept almost everything, like, very, very faithful, like Lisan al-Gaib, the Muad'Dib, and all that stuff. So I love this, honestly. Like, I was just sitting there, and I was just enjoying how they're doing the scenes. And they do, like, you know what, like, I could tell that Dennis knew, like, the Dune in and out, and he read it, and he loved it. I could tell, because the things I was excited for, and I was waiting to see on the screen, he did. And he also did them in a way that I would enjoy them, because he also probably enjoyed them. He also does the minor parts, like where you have character development, where like Duke Leto risks his own life and to try and save like a couple of regular harvesting fellas. So they try to save them, and that's a very big part in the storyline, because the Fremen eventually start to believe in them a little bit, the Atreides, that they're different, not the oppressors. And you kind of build it, like, connections there in the politics, and like they notice that they have integrity a little bit. So like, that's never mentioned in the movie, but you have looks, like the way they show looks, like someone looks surprised, like as if that's something they don't expect, you know. So you just pay attention and just enjoy like the story unfolding itself. And I really do believe that if we have more parts, all the things that are like nebulous to the viewers who didn't read books are gonna start to make sense, much like the book, because you don't understand what the fuck is Bene Gesserit on your first like sentence. You gotta go through that a little bit and like see, like, seeps into you. So I think if you get the second movie and even the third movie, like, I think the storyline will just become so much more clear to everyone, and I think the payoff will be tremendous for people who never experienced it. So I really can't wait, and I hope they announce the second part. So this movie was brilliant, like absolutely brilliant for Dune enthusiast like me. I loved it. That's how I felt. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Yeah, okay, I guess you didn't know it. Yeah, as someone who didn't know anything about Dune, I thought I'm gonna need part 2 because part 1 is a little setup. Exactly. Like, part 1 is basically mostly tease. It's mostly tease. I enjoyed it, like, super, because I just enjoy watching it on screen and the character development and everything. It was just very cool. I don't even need, like, a climax of the movie at that point, but I feel like a lot of the newer audience would really want something like that to satisfy their time invested. So the part 2 is definitely necessary, because all of this is just a bunch of tease in all kinds of directions. But the payout is absolutely tremendous, because all good things take time, and you can't really develop a great show like Dune in one movie. There's no way. You can, but you would miss the mark, much like David Lynch. Baron Harkonnen was amazing. I really like Baron Harkonnen the way they did it. He's not a caricature. He feels like a smart character, as he is in the book, because he's very smart in the books. So they didn't make him just, oh, he's ugly and funny and he just shouts like in the old movie. He's very menacing. He's controlling. He knows what's up. He's smart. And yeah, he's gonna have a big role as well. I really can't wait. Please, let me get the part 2, man. I don't know. Like, I was just enjoying it, like every minute of it. Like, to some characters you say goodbye a bit too quickly. I wish you had more time, but that would even more slow the movie down, you know? So that is unacceptable. So I understand the necessary sacrifice Denis Villeneuve pulled off here. Because I think he, as a Dune enthusiast, would probably love to spread this out as much as he can. So yeah, you gotta appease to the new audience. I wouldn't mind even slower. Exactly, Piano Kid. Same. But that's because we know the story. And I wouldn't mind like even more character development of the side characters. Because you have so many interesting side characters. But it would definitely need a series. So it's like this game where you have to appease to the short attention span average movie enjoyer. And you have to appease to the... Well, not appease, but you have to justify taking such an incredible novel, pivotal novel, and then making it to screen. So you have to do both of those. And he walked the perfect line in between, where I think, like, I can pretty much guarantee you, on the second part, everything will be clear to the newer audience, and they will just absolutely love it. They'll be mind blown. And us Dune enjoyers will just love it even more, so... You're just gonna... I think it's gonna be great if they allow him to do 2 movies. I mean, there's no reason not to, because if you look at The Lord of the Rings, like, what is the first movie? Well, what is the first movie without the other 2? Like, it's not really that good, but once you pair it up together, like with the extended versions, there's like 14 hours of greatness. And I want that for Dune. I want 14 hours of universe exploration, you know? Because it is a complex universe that Frank Herbert envisioned, and it's just so logical. It makes so much sense the way it's done, like all the traditions, like the water rituals, the Fremen walk throughout the desert, how they don't make rhythmic noises. It's just everything about it is just absolutely mind-blowing. It's phenomenally done.